Hello YouTube, my name is Big Boy Snatch on TV, aka Wakanda Snatch One, because I got playing around. As you can tell by the side of the thumbnail and the video itself, this is my AEW Dynamite review on high. So if you guys are new to the channel, make sure you guys please watch the entire video from all the way from the beginning over towards the end. Hit that thumbs up, subscribe to my channel for more wrestling content, because I'm trying to reach the 11K before the end of April. Follow my social media down below in the description, and go check out my WWE NXT review on highs, and go check out my WWE Raw review on highs out there on the channel. Without further ado, let's get started. Now, AEW Dynamite was a good show for what it was, and I give this show a 7 out of 10. It says right here, we kick things off at ringside for our opening match as Kenny Omega makes his entrance to a big pop from the crowd. He puts his EVP power on the line in this contest, with Renee Paquette talking about this at ringside as Kenny Omega enters the ring. Swerve Strickland makes his way out next, getting a decent reaction for someone acting the way he was lately. Swerve Strickland gets in the ring, and we get this big match on the way. So we get the number one contender versus EVP, Swerve Strickland versus Kenny Omega. And I gotta say right here, I ain't even gonna lie to you, this was a good match. What it was, even though it was fantastic. They start things off with the lockup until Prince now distracts Kenny Omega, allows Swerve to sneak some shots in against the ropes. Swerve Strickland sends Kenny Omega into the ropes before landing a boot to the face, following up with a few more shots before hitting the ropes, only to take a hurricanrana from Kenny Omega, sending Swerve Strickland to the outside for a dive. Kenny Omega starts to turn things around here, sending Swerve Strickland to the announcer table, and then the ring steps. Swerve Strickland starts to fight back, but is sent to the barricade for a set of chops by Kenny Omega, who sets him up on a chair before charging at him for a knee strike. The momentum is cut off by Swerve Strickland, however, as he counters into a few shots of his own before sending Kenny Omega back into the ring. He attacked the jaw of Kenny Omega until Kenny Omega fights back to his feet. The two trade strikes until Kenny Omega is sent to the corner, but he charged at Swerve Strickland to take him down for a near fall. He holds Swerve Strickland up, dropping him to the mat before landing a moonsault, but this only gets another 2 count. Kenny Omega stays in control here as Swerve Strickland heads to the ropes for a leverage dodging a V trigger before landing a suplex. The two go back to trading strikes at each other, with Kenny Omega sending Swerve Strickland to the corner with a knee strike and following up with a V trigger. He brings Swerve Strickland up onto the top turnbuckle, setting up for an avalanche one-winged angel, but Swerve Strickland escapes in the nick of time. He fight it out with Kenny Omega on a turnbuckle, sending the best bout machine to the mat hard with an avalanche back suplex. The two men are down as we go to the abbreviated ad break for this feature bout. If you're wondering how aggravated that commercial break was, both men are still down as we come back, but they do fight their way to their feet for another exchange of strikes. The fight makes its way to the ropes, where Kenny Omega is setting up for a Snapdragon suplex on the apron, but Swerve Strickland starts pulling at the referee's shirt, using the distraction for a sneaky low blow on Kenny Omega. The crowd boos this, but Swerve Strickland plays little mind as he brings Kenny Omega to the barricade. Kenny Omega stops him from a power driver attempt as the two fall off, but Swerve Strickland quickly resets, landing the power driver, sending Kenny Omega head first onto the barricade. The referee checks on Kenny Omega as Swerve Strickland brings him back into the ring, landing a powerbomb for a pin attempt that reaches 2 before Kenny Omega kicks out. Kenny Omega counters big pressure for a near fall of his own, only to take a house call before Swerve Strickland lands a swerve stomp on Kenny Omega's back. Kenny Omega is down on the mat, allowing for the second swerve stone from the top as Swerve Strickland makes the cover, but Kenny Omega kicks out just in time to save his EVP power. Kenny Omega is struggling here, dropping back to the mat as Swerve Strickland looks for a house call. Swerve Strickland brings Kenny Omega to his feet, only to be sent to the corner by Kenny Omega for a series of back elbow strikes. Swerve Strickland comes out of the corner as Kenny Omega lands a set of right hands, shoving Kenny Omega back before taking a kick. Swerve Strickland escapes Kenny Omega's grasp for a power slam, but it's only good for a 2. Kenny Omega used the ropes to get to his feet, and Swerve Strickland mocks him as if going for a V-trigger, only to take a knee strike from Kenny Omega that sets up for a proper V-trigger. He holds Swerve Strickland up for a one-wigging angel, but Swerve Strickland counters with Kenny Omega counters out of a V-vertebra breaker for a knee strike, but Swerve Strickland attacks his eyes to stop a one-wigging angel attempt. Vertebra breaker by Swerve Strickland and the cover, and Kenny Omega kicks out again. Swerve Strickland sets up for a swerve stomp in the corner, but Kenny Omega dodges it for a knee strike. Swerve Strickland is on the ropes as Kenny Omega lands a V-trigger, setting Swerve Strickland up for a one-wigging angel. And this time, it connects as Kenny Omega takes the win to become the number 1 contender. The winner of the match by pinfall, Kenny Omega. This was a good match to start off the show. Alright, Kenny Omega celebrates as we go to a video package showing the daredevil attitude of Darby Allin ahead of a big match later tonight. So we go to commercial break. We get a vignette from Will Ospreay, who calls out Pac for a match, and Winnie Peg before addressing John Moxley, saying he put Will in timeout, referring to the injury keeping him out of action. He talks about spending time with his son and seeing their fear on his face, as well as the reaction he follows countrymen and family had to his neck being snapped before telling John Moxley he wants a match at Dynasty. With that, Dynamite rolls on. Back from ringside, we go with the Death Riders making their way through the crowd for our next match. Minneapolis natives Top Flight alongside Zeta still make their way to the ring now. With that, we get this match on the way. So we get a mixed trios match. Death Riders, John Moxley, Daniel Garcia, and Maria Shafir versus Sky Flight, Top Flight, and Zeta Steel. And this was a fun match, what it was. Let me take a sip of my water. The Death Riders blindside Skyflight just as the bell rings, taking the fight to the outside, leaving Maria Shafir is still in the ring to start things officially. John Moxley and Dan Garcia were grouped to their corner as Steel fights off Maria Shafir for a head scissors. Maria Shafir in the corner as Zeta goes for a running knee strike, but Maria Shafir fights her off with some shots before Steel drops her with her corner off the turnbuckles. Tag made to Daniel Garcia and Darius, who exchange holds before Daniel Garcia lands a chop, sending Martin to the corner. Darius fights out of the corner, taking Daniel Garcia down for a 2 count. Daniel Garcia goes for the jaw before tagging in John Moxley, who stomps away at Darius in the corner. Referee intervenes to force John Moxley back away, but not for long, as John Moxley goes right back at it until Darius fights back, sending him to the Skyflight tag to Dante. Top Flight takes John Moxley to the outside, sending Daniel Garcia always as well until all three Death Riders are met with a triple dive by Sky Flight, sending us to a commercial break. Alright, so we go to commercial break. Back from the break, Daniel Garcia is in control as he brings Dante to his feet, sending him to the ropes and drops him hard for a 2 count. Tag made to John Moxley now. Who lands some hard chops on Dante, who escapes a back suplex for a drop kick. Daniel Garcia rushes to the opposite corner, keeping Darius off the apron. As Marisha Fair jumps in to go after Dante, who lands an enziguri on her before tagging in Zayda. Alright. Marisha Fair is tagging as well as still sends her to the corner for a knee strike. Marisha Fair fights back with a roll through on a slam, but Zayda lands some of shots of her own. She goes for the cover, but it's nearly tripped up by Yuta, and this allows Marisha Fair to land a hard kick on Steel. John Moxley tags in looking for a double team on Zayda. But she sends Marisha Fair running right into John's little Moxley instead. Things start to break down as Yuta tries to get involved again, while Darius tags in, only to focus on taking out Christopher Daniels out with a bazooka knee, and then takes a dive from Zayda Steel. Back in the ring, we see Daniel Garcia going after Darius with a Dragon Slayer, followed by a block and followed by a stomp, but by John Moxley that allows Daniel Garcia to get the win. The winner of the match, the Death Riders. This was a fun match for what it was. I'm taking a sip of my water. Death Riders celebrate before John Moxley gets a microphone. He tells Ospreay it's not nice to say mean things about people on TV before saying whatever Will Ospreay has with John Moxley is nothing personal. But if he wants a big fat grudge match at Dynasty, he's got it. Until then, don't let your mouth get you in trouble. We get a graphic confirming the match. Notably not for John Moxley's AEW Continental Championship before going to a video package on the Young Bucks, who reflect on their loss at Revolution before bouncing back with a win on Dynamite last week. They promised 2026 will be the year of the Young Bucks. We head back to ringside as Speedball Mike Bailey heads down the ramp, with Rocky Ramone already in the ring to get this match on the way. So we get Speedball Mike Bailey versus Rocky Ramone. This was a squash match, what it was. Ramone quickly fends off Speedball at the start, presumably sneaking revenge for not getting a proper entrance as he lands some shots into the trio's champion. Bailey fights back, sending Oscar to the outside with some kicks. He brings Rocky back into the ring, but Ramon seeks a rope break when Speedball looks for some kicks. He sends Bailey to the outside before celebrating which proves futile when Bailey comes back in for a roundhouse kick. Romero is sent to the corner where Bailey sets up for a shooting star knee, dropping on to Ricky, covering him for a pinfall. cover for a pinfall and a win. The winner by pinfall, Speedball Mike Bailey. This was a squash match, what it was. Alright, Bailey celebrates as we get a video package highlighting the Texas Death Match for the AEW champion. At Revolution, which one MJF requested to retain his title against Very Game, and Will Ospreay stepped up to the plate. So we're gonna get So we're gonna get what's his name? We're gonna get MJF. I'm sorry, Mike Bailey celebrates as we get a video package highlighting the Texas Death Match for the AEW World Championship at Revolution, which MJF managed to retain his title against a very game Hangman Adam Page. So we go to commercial break. We transition from hour one of the show to the second half of as MJF makes his way down the ramp, ready to address the fans after retaining the title at Revolution. Ladies and gentlemen, and he used that losing since we're in Minnesota. MJF has the mic. That means it's time to sit down and be quiet. You're not only looking at the world champion, but the man who hangman. Thanks to MJF, the cowboy can no longer ever, etc. ever again challenge for the AEW World Title. MJF says Page didn't pull up much of the night. Much of the night. What was I? Oh, MJF says Page didn't pull up much of a fight before. I wanted to talk about the facts he still holds the championship that every single man and this planet can only dream of holding. He is still at the mountaintop. And there is nothing. There is no one who deserves it more than MJF. He'll tell us why, and it's because he's MJF and he's better than you, and you know it. Yeah, you know it. He's earned a double catchphrase saying nobody is on the still of the book. Alright. Kenny Omega clearly has something to say about that as the new number one contender makes his way down the ramp. Kenny Omega steps through the ropes and mounting up with the champion as the crowd chants Kenny Omega's name. MJF can be heard making what's that chant? Crowd chants Kenny Omega. MJF can be heard asking Kenny Omega if he can help him, and Kenny Omega get the microphone from ringside. He says, "Excuse how he dresses and smells. He just had a match." What's MJF's excuses? He runs down the channel for being so smug and calling himself the devil before running down his own list of nicknames. The Cleaner, the Best Bout Machine, the God of Pro Wrestling. Even at the height of his own evilness, he never calls himself a god. But if MJF is going to be the devil, Kenny Omega is willing to call him good. Call himself God. I'm sorry. Every evil force has a content with a force of God. I'm sorry. He talks about pushing himself to the limit and not listening to his body, taking some ownership for why MJF could be at could be a 60 to 80% Kenny Omega. Alright. But now that he's back, oh boy, he talks about not beating Swerve Strickland the first time, saying it's not about what happened in the ring. But it's also around it. Beyond smuggling, we will not put up with any BS hijacking from the champ. He goes on to say that MJF knows who the better man is, but offers a handshake as he struggles to get at it for the title at Dynasty. MJF mocks him, but refusing the handshake, leaving the ring as John Moxley. As Kenny Omega. As leaving the ring as Kenny Omega offers his own catchphrase to the fans, biting them good night, and bye bye, bang. We go to the cage. This was a good segment. That's all I gotta say. We go to the cage and Cole backstage with Christian Cage addressing with FTR. Did the theme as of late. He walks off after referring to them hiding a spike pile driver, which and Copeland calls him and you know what for that before addressing the tag champs himself. He talks about Cash approaching him at a Gold Gym. All those years ago, now throwing all that history away. Alright, it says Copeland understands he's the ultimate opportunist, but going after Beth was Copeland understands he's the ultimate opportunist, but going after Beth was something else earlier. Entirely, he talks about teaming with Cage to take the titles away from FTR, but Copeland would do better by sneaking them out and end their careers. Back at ringside, we head to ringside where FTR are on their way out, seemingly to address what just said. Strickland says we shouldn't care. We shouldn't care what Adam and Christian says. Christian says, I'm sorry. What it says, we shouldn't care what Adam and Christian have to say, but we should care what the 3-time tag champs have to say. So give it up for FTR. Cash talks about dumping the dead weight of Copeland refusing to help carry him to the end of his career. Because of their own effort, they are the champs and they take a backseat to no one. Wheeler talks about being taken under Adam's ring in the 2009, but this is not 2009 anymore. But he's got his family here, right here with Dax and Stoke. Adam time is gone. This is FTR's time now. They live in legends. I'm sorry. Dax takes the mic to call Copeland a nonchalant act. What they did to Beth Phoenix made Copeland question himself, and they're willing to drop Adam Copeland's wife on her head. And what are the willing to do to Copeland himself? Top guys out. Alright. It says FTR music hits as they go to leave with Orange Cassidy's music bringing him and Roger Strong out. FTR bumps into Orange Cassidy with with Stoke being shoved away by Orange Cassidy, landing a near fall. Landing, he says, well, Orange Cassidy, strong, finally head to the top rope for our match. The Dogs make their entrance, and we get this match on the way. Alright, so we get the Dogs, David Finlay and Clark Connors versus the Collaboration, Orange Cassidy and Roderick Strong. And this tag team match right here, this was a decent tag team match for what it was. Cassidy and Finlay start things off, but Strong is quick to get a tag in as he exchanges strikes with Finlay. David Finlay takes control, making the tag. And Connors, Connors, tag to Connors. Before Orange Cassidy gets a tag of his own to go after the Dogs, he catches them with a crossbody, forcing them to the outside for a dive, but David Finlay sends him into the barricade before Connors draws him to the foot. Roger Strong is also sent down hard as we go to commercial break. It says we come back just as the Dogs send Roger Strong to the floor before going after Cassidy, who catches Finlay with a stun dog, millionaire stun dog. The stun dog her. The dog stops him from making a tag with Connors, taking one of his own. But Orange Cassidy will not be denied as Roger Strong gets the tag to send Finlay to the outside. He draws Connors for a cover, but Finlay breaks it up at 2. Connors spins off Roddy long enough for Finlay to get involved before Strong before Roger Strong makes the tag and Orange Cassidy before hosting him around like a weapon on the Dogs. With that, Orange Cassidy gets a cover on Clark from a DDT, but it's only for a good 2 count. Tag made back to Roger Strong as Finlay sends him into Orange Cassidy before landing a close on, only to be sent to the outside with a DDT from Orange Cassidy. Counter sets up a power slam, but Orange Cassidy stops himself on the ropes. Roger Strong back in the ring, but Finlay stops a backbreaker on the Dogs, take him down hard. But I'm down hard to the mat. That's all I was trying to say. Orange Cassidy returns to the ring, putting his hands in his pocket for a double draw kick, followed by a DDT on Friday. Alright, it says beach break. It says beach break is blocked by Connors, who takes a PK only to dodge an orange punch. Orange Cassidy takes a chop to the chest. Takes a chop blocked by Finlay, and the Dogs takes Cassidy out with a full clip, and that gives them a win. The winner of the match, the Dogs. This was a fun tag team match. What it was, but I gotta take a sip of my water. They celebrate as we hear from the new AEW Women's World Tag Team Champions, Divine Dominion. They talk about taking out the former champs and how there are no second chances with that. Commentary runs down the Women's World Tag title match and Darby Allin versus Rush. Still to come before we go to commercial break. Alright, so we go to commercial break. We head backstage where Kyle Fletcher is about to defend the TNT Championship, but also the matter of bringing back the world title to the Don Callis family. He says he should be the man to do it before Takeshita interrupts to go check to check in on the protostar. We head back to ringside. Mina Shakara heads off our next match. She challenged for the women's AEW Women's World Championship, and the champion, the Kala, makes her interest to get this match on the way. Alright, so we get the AEW Women's World Championship match. The Kala defends against Mina Shakara. And this match right here, I ain't even gonna lie to you. This match right here, I ain't gonna lie to you. This was I might as well say it was a pretty good match in my opinion. So yeah, so that's all I have to say. It says right here. Hold on, give me a second. I'm sorry. But that match was this match right here. Give me a second. Hold on. Where was I? Hold on. Give me a second. I found it. So we get the AEW Women's World Championship match. The Kala defense against Mina Shakara. This was a pretty good match in my opinion. That's all I gotta say. Pretty good match. The Kala mocks Mina Shakara for being so serious and takes a fury of offense from the challenger. In response, the fight spills to the outside where Mina Shakara lands some hard kicks to keep the champion grounded before bringing her back into the ring. Mina Shakara with the cover, but only gets a 2 count. She takes the champ to the ropes, but the Kala catches her with a drop toe hold into the ropes, followed by a running knee. Mina Shakara blocks a German suplex from the apron, sweeping the Kala off her feet before landing a DDT on the champ to the floor as we go to commercial break. We come back to see both women in the ring, with the champ now in control as she goes after the arm of Mina Shakara. The Kala breaks her own hold before mocking Mina Shakara and then landing a stomp for good measure. Mina Shakara scrambles to the corner as the champ mocks her with a spider tongue, only to take a running kick by the challenger, who follows up with a sling blade. She climbed the turnbuckle before a shotgun drop kick in the cover, but the Kala kicks out. Mina Shakara locks in a single leg crab on the champ, who just managed to get to the ropes for the break. The Kala fights to her feet for a right hand, but takes a rolling strike from Mina Shakara, who gets dropped with a spear by the champ. She starts to take her belt off, but gets it pulled away by the ref, and the distraction allows the Kala to pull out some brass knuckles. But Mina Shakara lands a hurricane. She tries to pull the nuts off the champ's hand, but takes them to the face instead, as the Kala stacks the challenger up for the win. The winner by pinfall is still your AEW Women's World Champion, the Kala. This was a pretty good match in my opinion. The Kala celebrates as we go backstage, where Kenny Omega is about getting his shot at the AEW World Championship at Dynasty. There will be where was I? It says right here. So it says the Kala celebrates as we go backstage, where Kenny Omega talks about getting his shot at the AEW World Championship at Dynasty. There will be a contract signing next week, but Kenny Omega focused on how if the devil needs the title taken off him, Kenny Omega might be the guy or God to do it. This is interrupted by Speedball, who wishes Kenny Omega the best of luck going into Dynasty this year's after they faced off last year, and he looks to approach Kenny Omega for a shot at the belt. Should Kenny Omega come out of Dynasty as champion? Kenny Omega likes the sound of that, and they shake hands. The handshake goes awkwardly long for Kenny Omega liking as we go to commercial break. So we go to commercial break. Backstage, Ricochet talks about losing his temper after losing his AEW International Championship at Revolution. He was never pinned or submitted, but Jack Perry left with his title. He also talks about Kenny Omega being handed a title shot after he beat Kenny Omega the one time they face off. When you're in demand, you make demands. Alright, it says we head to ringside for our main event as Rouge makes his entrance. Commentary looks at Rouge picking up the win on Collision as he heads to the ring. And now next is Darby Allin coming off his coffin match win over Gabe Kidd to get this main event underway. So we get the main event of the evening. So we get no countouts. Darby Allin versus Rouge. And this match right here, I ain't even gonna lie, this was a okay main event for what it was. Rouge blindsides him as the bell rings, sending Darby Allin to the outside as he slams him against the guardrail before landing some hard shots. He slams Darby Allin against the chair before setting up the ring steps, eventually sending Darby Allin flying over the and into the barricade. Darby Allin is struggling to get back on the speed as he used the ring post for leverage. Rouge pulls him away before stepping onto the apron, only for Darby Allin to sweep him off for a few shots. He slides into the ring for a dive, but Rouge dodged him, forcing Darby Allin to crash into the floor. Instead, he brings Darby Allin onto the apron before launching him to the floor with a belly to belly suplex as we go to commercial break. Back from commercial break, Rouge has brought Darby Allin back into the ring before teasing the horns, only to mark the crowd for their excitement. There's giving Darby Allin an opening to take Rouge to the mat for some punches, but Rouge quickly fights back, bringing Darby Allin to the ropes. Darby Allin spins him off before sending him off the apron before landing a dive that sends Rouge into the announcer table. Darby Allin grabs a chair, setting it up and propping Rouge onto it before taking a bite out of him. He goes up top and lands a missile dropkick, knocking Rouge off the chair and into the barricade. He brings Rouge back into the ring for a cover, but only gets a near fall. Rouge fights back with some chops, and Darby Allin responds with some strikes that barely phase Rouge. He does take the bigger man down with the cold red for the win for a 2. Rouge is in the corner as Darby Allin charges at him, only to be launched into the corner by Rouge. He gets into it with the ref as Darby Allin tries to guard Rouge into going back after him, and Rouge obliged with a stomp to the head. He goes for the horns once more, but Darby Allin managed to escape and catches El Toro Blanco with their jackknife cover for the win. The winner of the match, Darby Allin. This was a I'm also say this was a pretty. The main event match was like okay for what it was. Darby Allin heads up the ramp after the match, but is blindsided by Mark Davis. With the rest of the Don Callis family joining in, they bring Darby Allin into the ring to continue the beatdown. And we can see Andrade arguing with Don Callis about focusing on the title rather than going after Darby Allin. The show ends slightly abrupt by the sides of the family, and they sing. In the ring, standing over Darby Allin as Don Callis and El Dido continues to hash out their squadable. Alright, then we read you guys some quick match results. No More Contender versus EVP. Kenny Omega defeated Swerve, Strickland mixed trios tag team match. The Death Riders, John Moxley, Daniel Garcia, and Maria Sheffield defeated Skyflight, Top Flight, and Zeta still. Speedball Mike Bailey defeated Rocky Romero, which is a squash match. The Dawes, David Finlay, and Clark Connors defeated the Collaboration, Orange Cassidy, and Roger Strong. That match itself was okay match for what it was. AEW Women's World Championship. AEW Women's World Championship match. The College defeated the defense against Maria Shakawa. And last but not least, no countouts. Darby Allin defeated Roosh. That was like a okay main event match, what it was. And AEW Dynamite goes off the air. Alright, let me give my very honest opinion of what I think about AEW. Now AEW Dynamite was a good show, and I give that show itself a 7 out of 10. But anyway, if you guys enjoy my AEW Dynamite review on highlights, make sure you guys please watch the entire video from all from the beginning towards the end. Give this video a thumbs up. Comment down below what you guys think of AEW Dynamite, because it was a good show, and I give that show a 7 out of 10. And go check out my WWE NXT review on highlights, and go check out my WWE Raw review on highlights. And that's all I gotta say. But tonight I will drop my world premiere for my AEW Dynamite review on highlights at around 5 o'clock a.m. But I will see you guys tomorrow live on Twitch for some WWE 2K26 to play Universe Mode. And that's all I gotta say. But I want you guys to have a great night. Stay safe and always stay positive. Kept your crew, kept your kings, kept your club. Too sweet. I'm out of here. Gang. Mwah. Bang. Too sweet. Gang.